Hello, everyone. Welcome to Life Out Loud. I'm Junie Moon, and I'm your host, and I'm thrilled you're here. Before we dive into today's program, I just want to give you a quick insight into who I am and why I'm doing this. So first of all, I am a certified shadow work facilitator and a transformational coach. And what does that mean? What that means is I help people, perhaps like you, get out of your own way, break through limiting behaviors and belief systems so that you really can soar in your life, to really have the life that you are meant to live. And I work with individuals, I work with groups, I do workshops around the country. So if you're interested in finding out more about how to tame your inner critic and get out of your own way and live fully, you can go to innercritictamer.com and you can find out more about my work and even get a free consultation. And because my mission is really to help you soar, I created Life Out Loud, which is a place where I bring, oh my goodness, such phenomenal people, leaders of our time, cutting edge, inspirational, wise people that are making a difference in people's lives. And so I pick and choose some of the greatest of great and people I want to hang out with that I know you'll want to hang out with too. And you will not be disappointed with today's guest. So let me share with you who she is. Her name is AnYes van Rhijn, and she's a business success strategist. She works with people who are stuck at crossroads and don't seem to see what their next step is in order to change a life and business that doesn't satisfy them. She helps them step into the driver's seat of their life so that they can reinvent it. In fact, she's called the Queen of Reinvention. We'll find out why soon. By connecting the dots between who they are and what's important to them, they build the clarity and confidence that allows them to put themselves back at the center of their life. From there, they can build the business that will sustain the life they desire for themselves. Success, yes, but on their own terms. That's what she's about, guys. Her approach is holistic, transformational, as well as pragmatic and action-oriented. Her collaborative but no excuses style is ideal for people who are ready to do the work to make things happen in their life and their business. She operates in French, English, and Dutch and delivers her services worldwide. So wherever you are, guys, she's available, either in person or remotely using internet tools. So I'm so happy to have her here. She is someone dear to my heart and someone I really respect so much. And so welcome, AnYes.
Thank you for having me, Junie. I'm delighted. We've been talking about this for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And we made it.
Yay!
Here we are.
Yes, we made it. And happy birthday. I heard that this is your birthday, and well, not today, but it's your birthday month.
Yeah, it was a few days ago. Well,
yeah. So happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
So with this show, what we usually do, well, first of all, I just want to let everybody know that's live with us. The chat is open. Feel free to let us know that you're there. Ask questions. I'll do my best to remember to look to see that you're there. Sometimes I forget. So put lots of exclamation marks, but I'll be checking. And we will we'll include you if you'd like. And so what I want to do first with that, what I do with all my guests is just get a sense of your journey, who you are, AnYes. I mean, you know, you are such an accomplished woman and you're helping so many people. How did you get here? So can you give us a little bit of your, you know, your winding road that brought you to this place? And what does it mean to be the queen of reinvention?
So let's go back first. I am from Dutch background, so both my parents were Dutch. I am officially French because they met in France, got married there. So I now have the French nationality. I've been living most of my life there, and also 8 years in the Netherlands. But that being said, I have a corporate background, 25 years of experience, mainly in administration, events management, etc. And something like 8-9 years ago, I decided decided to set up my own business. And I played safe. I started working with the corporate world only. I didn't know back then that I was playing safe. I know that now. Yeah, in essence, to make that story short, back 18 months ago, I left a toxic relationship that left me completely broke. But what I did then is that instead of, I would say, behave like a victim, which is an easy thing to do in a situation like that, you know, complain about the guy, what he did to you, etc. I didn't. I decided to take charge and to look into what my role had been in that situation. And what I mean that by that is that I'm absolutely convinced that we create our own reality. So if I had landed in that situation, there was a reason. I had played a role in it. And so that has been an amazing personal development journey, growth journey, because I started understanding a lot of things about myself. And so what I did in essence is that I reconsidered all my choices in life and business. And so if I look at it from the business perspective, one of the things that came out of it is that I understood that I had played safe by working in the corporate world. It was just that it felt safer financially, but I've never liked it. So the first thing I decided was that I was from now on going to work with business owners and entrepreneurs only. And so there I was in that scary situation where I had absolutely no income. But I called a major client that I had, an oil and gas company in Budapest, and I told them that I was no longer going to work with them. I felt completely out of alignment by continuing doing so. And in essence, I decided, no, I don't want that anymore. So that was the big change on the business side. On the personal side, well, to start with, I had to move into with my sister. So I stayed with her for 1 year with her family, which was a quite weird experience because the flat that the house, sorry, that she was living in used to be the one that I was renting before going to live with that guy. And there it was back in my own place, except that it wasn't my place anymore. Very weird experience.
Yeah.
But I admitted for myself that I had never felt home in France. But that I had never felt home in the Netherlands. So I decided to move to London. And so in January, I announced to the world, you know, Facebook, I announced to the world that I was going to move to the UK. But there I was living in France, in essence, sending out from an energetical point of view, this message that I wanted the world was the entire world except French, because I was against, you know, their mentality, etc.
Yeah.
Of course, I did not generate any business at all. And so January, I sold my car, then I had to sell my furniture, then I had to sell my jewels. I had absolutely no income. February, March, April. Meanwhile, my son had asked me, "Oh, but we will help you move. When are you planning to move?" I started saying September 1st at the latest. "Oh, can you be more precise so that we can book it?" And so I said August 21st. And by May, I still had absolutely no income. And I confirm what I just said. I was blocking that myself. I started thinking, wait a moment, universe, I'm serious. I need to be out of here. Not the house of my sister, but the context, the French context, etc., that I knew wasn't good for me. And so I ended up subscribing to a house sitting website. And on the 21st of July, so that is 1 month earlier than planned, I arrived at 58 with 2 suitcases, no income, and 8 weeks of house sitting in London. And it's incredible. The moment I arrived in London, I felt home. And from there, because my whole mindset shifted, I started doing a lot of things that I had never done before. I behaved in a complete different way. And to make that part of the story short, it's amazing what I have achieved in 6 months' time. Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing the things I manifested.
So thank you for sharing all that. Couple of things. There's a lot of things I want to ask you about that. But one thing is there's some clicking when you move. So I don't know if you're hitting your microphone or if you have a bracelet, but
it could be that's the last jewels that I have, that my pearls are. Right. Okay, let me take it off.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, you got to take those off. Meanwhile, I'm going to say hey to Midgie in Milan, down the coast from you.
I know Midgie. Midgie. Hello, Midgie.
And Allie, who said hello to Midgie. So I guess they know each other, unless they're just deciding to say hello to each other, which is cool. So yay, welcome for being here. So wow, so you have not only such a wealth of information from living the world of corporate, so you have like that business side of you, yep. And then you have this personal upheaval that so many of us experience, whether it's divorce, whether it's something with our children, whether it's a health crisis. I mean, there's just so many things that get thrown in our way that we invite in, I believe, similarly to you. Not everyone here is necessarily in agreement with that, but what AnYes and I are talking about is this belief that, we have a very big power to draw into us what we believe and our circumstances, and that we're not necessarily at the mercy of what happens to us. And when I say necessarily, it's like life is going to happen, but how we react to it and how we manage it, that's a whole different thing. And so what I'm hearing is, you have this unbelievable blend of great business knowledge and this personal journey of coming, starting from scratch, which I have to say, I pretty much did the same thing a few years ago after leaving my husband. I was like, whoa, I didn't know how much things cost and I don't have a job. Well, this is interesting, I mean, I've been doing this work for years, but it was a reinvention as well. And so blending that all together, having this insight, what might you tell people that are at this crossroads, and maybe some of the golden nuggets that you've discovered to help people reinvent themselves? Well, let's start there. Queen of Reinvention. I mean, that's a great title. Look what you've come from, and look what you've created, and I know I'm talking a lot, but there's so much to you. I've seen your website. I know all the programs you have. You have invented an unbelievable platform to help people. And so what are some of like the big keys you might be able to offer people that are at that crossroads, that might be feeling like a victim or feeling like they can't make something of their life and are feeling down, but there's all this potential? What might you offer to them?
So to start with, it's the third time that I'm reinventing myself. So that title that I've not given myself, somebody else gave it to me, is not coming just from this situation. I've reinvented myself 3 times for completely different circumstances, but it happened 3 times. The reasons weren't the same at all. But this one has been very extreme, of course. The first thing that I would say, absolutely, it made all the difference for me, is take charge. So really understand that where you are at in your life at that moment is the consequences of all the choices that you have made. And so the thing is that quite often we're making choices unconsciously. We're not conscious that we are making certain choices. So take charge. That's why I talk about step into the driver's seat of your life. Put yourself back at the center of your life and own it. And so from there, I would say that one of the keys is to start looking at what works, because even under the most difficult circumstances, there are always positive things. Always. They don't need to be big. But if you start, I'm a big fan of practicing gratitudes. If you start writing down every single day the beautiful things that are present in your life, and it may be the sunshine that you enjoyed, or the neighbor who is always grouchy and who all of a sudden is smiling at you or said hello or whatever. It sits in all those small little things. So being grateful is absolutely essential. Take action. Take action. A lot of people are just sitting there waiting, complaining, but step out of your comfort zone. Do things differently. You know what didn't work so far. So try new things. I have been living in a small village in France for quite a few years. I was quite isolated. I have started massively, but very massively, networking. I went to all type of events that I could, meeting new people, never wondering the moment I entered a room where I knew no one, what would happen or whatever. I was just going for it. The other key for me is that is know how to use fear as a fuel instead of letting it paralyze you. We all, and each of us, we all experience fear, and we will experience it until the end of our days. But the key is that it is quite often fear is completely unrealistic. It's absolutely not. It's not the truth. So you need to challenge that. Yes. I work very much with two questions. The moment I experience fear, I will immediately ask myself, is it true, whatever that fear is? And because of course it hasn't happened, it cannot be true. So the normal answer should be no.
Let me actually just stop you there. Well, first of all, like all great stuff, and I would actually maybe dive in a little deeper with the things you just mentioned, but the fear, I always think of false evidence
appearing real.
You know, there's a few other ones. I think the other one was, I'm going to lay an F-bomb. So if you guys are sensitive, close your ears, but fuck everything and run. There's always that option. But to be able to just really dance with the fear, I talk with people about that a lot. You know, a lot of people come to me and say, I want to get rid of my fear. I want to get rid of my fear.
No, face it.
Right. Face it, embrace it, dance with it. You know, when we can feel it, when we can allow it inside, then it doesn't disable us. And then we could take the actions. And I think that's so right on, AnYes. It's like, I think a lot of people, they do get stuck, and they do get in their fear and paralyzed, and then it's like they implode and then they feel like they can't make anything happen. But going to a network meeting, depending on which ones, and I know I want you to talk about the thing that you're doing with the networking, but getting out of your house, talking with other people that are in the same place, maybe that you can collaborate with. It's good to get out of the house. It's really good to get out of the house and feel like moving forward.
Absolutely. And this whole thing about do you hear me? Okay, sorry. There was something weird all of a sudden. This whole thing with fear is that, I think that's one thing that is important to understand, is that your brain cannot focus on two things at the same time. When you're in fear, you're in contraction, so you're completely closed. Nothing can happen. The moment you are focusing, and the key word is focusing, on something else, your brain cannot focus on two things at the same time. You are opening up. You start the expansion. It doesn't have to be wide open. This is already enough for energy to start flowing again. And the thing is, the moment you start focusing on something else, the fear is lowering by essence, because the brain cannot focus on two things at the same time. So the key is, the moment you start realizing you're in fear, is to start focusing on something else.
Well, and also to use fear as a tool. I mean, because to me, every emotion we have is so valuable. Every sensation in our body is so valuable. It's like, what is it about? So when I feel fear, or my clients are talking about their fear, it's like, what is that? What's really there? And is that true? Which goes back to what you were talking about. Is this real or not? Is this a valid fear? Am I really in danger? Because we need healthy fear. But is it okay? I'm scared if I speak to this person at the networking meeting that they're going to think I'm not good enough, and they're going to say no to me. Okay, well, there's some risk there, but is it worth a risk taking? And doing that inner work, instead of it stopping us and allowing the fear to just cut us out of life. It's really about breathing, allowing, flowing, and then working with it. That's when we can make some really big magic happen.
Absolutely. That's really my experience as well. And I remember at some point there was a woman who measured with whatever my level of stress, and she said, "AnYes, I don't believe it. How can you have such a level, such a high results?" you should, in your situation, you should be completely
Mhm.
stressed. And I said,
Yep.
I'm not. Does it mean that that I've never been going through situations where I
Right.
was thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Or
Yep.
how can I pay for this or that? I was in survival mode.
Yep.
But it wasn't ruling my life at all.
Exactly.
And well, I mean, if you believe, well, I know you do, but if people believe in the law of attraction, you know that you are going to attract the same match of energy that what you are exuding. So if I am only exuding fear, that's what I will get in return. But I wasn't. So
Yep.
obviously I have been manifesting absolutely fantastic things.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, and I want to get to that for a second. But first, I'm going to say, Barbara, hey, Barbara's in the house, and she's a local. So nice to see you here, Barbara. A lot of people will say the law of attraction isn't working for me. Like I have my vision boards, I'm taking action, I'm doing my gratitude list, which is something else AnYes mentioned before, which is awesome to be able to be in gratitude. It opens up. I think all our cells just get happy when we focus on the blessings in our life, and there's so many blessings. But in reference to the law of attraction, sometimes there's some confusion around that. And I'm not an expert on this, but what I believe to be true is you could be doing all the right things to attract what it is that you're wanting consciously. But then it's the unconscious stuff that gets you, because if underneath you are having the fear, if underneath you're feeling inadequate, or something is wrong, or it can't happen for you, or whatever those unconscious beliefs are, that's what's being sent out to the universe, because there's more unconscious than conscious, and we need to have access to that. So I know that, some of the work that you do, some of the work that I do, guys, you have to look at the unconscious stuff, because it is putting you back in the driver's seat, and that's what AnYes is talking about.
Yeah, and you have been using a few times a keyword. The keyword with vibrating, attracting something to you is the word feeling. It's not about the mechanically taking actions. It's about feeling really what it does to you.
Yep.
So I mean, from day one that I left that relationship, I woke up every single morning feeling happy, and I still do. So my feeling of happiness doesn't come from, whatever material situation I'm in. So it's inside already.
Yeah.
Which is why at a point where seen from the outside, I was living in a world of scarcity. I was living in a world of abundance. So that's the world I live in.
Yeah.
So you attract it to yourself.
Yes. And I think also, again, it's how we view the world. What are our truest values? Because if money and a certain amount of money at the end of the day is the only way you're going to be happy, then you're going to struggle more than somebody else that is about embracing life and having a different viewpoint about, stopping and smelling the roses. Really, mindset is key to everything. What's between our ears
Absolutely.
is everything. And then we have these, it's foundational. Absolutely. It's how we show up in life and how we do everything. And we could know all the right things to do, how to say everything, how to market. But two people could be doing the exact same things, and one will be successful and one won't. And no doubt it's because of what's coming out and what's unresolved. Absolutely. And again, that's the beauty of the human experience. I believe that's, the lessons that we're bringing on, right?
Absolutely. Which also leads to the power of the language we're using. We have been educated in a world where, in essence, we always focus so much on what doesn't work, that what we express is what we don't want, instead of expressing what we do want.
Exactly.
And that is also changing everything.
Yes, it's so funny when I work with people and I say, what is it that you want to have happen? How do you want to live your life? Or what are you calling in? And they go right into, well, I don't want this and I don't want this.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Right? Absolutely.
Right. And then I turn it around and I say, well, if you didn't have all those things, how would you be? What would you have? And then they can live into the vision. But without the vision, the universe has no clue what we want, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. This whole work around mindset is really, as I said, foundational.
Hmm.
In theory, quote unquote, what I am working on with clients is business.
Hmm.
Because I'm all about, giving them the systems, the tools, etc., so that they work on their business, not in their business.
Hmm.
Because you said, it's success on your own terms. So whatever success means to you, not at any cost. But the mindset work is the first thing we work on.
Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what have you done, or where have you studied, or has it just been your own personal journey? I actually don't know how you got to all the mindset tools that you offer your clients.
It's a combination of my former. I had no formal education, which I've been carrying as a stone on my shoulder for most of my life. So when I started my reconversion from a high-end job, because I didn't have that education, that I did not manage to climb the ladder, and I really had a high-end senior position in the corporate world. But when I started my reconversion, I was, of course, afraid that I would not be credible, and so I've been overtrained. I have 3 coaching trainings. I am an NLP practitioner, master practitioner. I'm a reach branding strategist. So I mean, you name it, I've been trained in it. So there is that combination of what I have learned through the official routes, but I tend to pick out of everything that I'm learning the things that work for me. It's completely impossible for me to just be unfolding a methodology. I just pick what I like and I create my own toolbox. And then when you add on to that my own experience plus the experience of my clients, it's enriching that toolbox.
Yeah.
And with that, I have developed a completely holistic program that is, I'm very often being told, one of the very few programs that's existing that is so complete, because we do look at who you are, what's important to you, etc. We do look at clearing what stands in the way. We do look at radical self-care, putting yourself back at the center of your life.
Mm-hmm.
We do look at everything around your business, but then we add also all the systems and the tools that will assure that you commit to it and that your business is supporting the life you want for yourself. So I continuously am adding tools to it.
That's great. I mean, there's something to be said about a diploma and the certifications. Years ago, I mean, I was the queen of getting lots of diplomas and certifications. And then it just got to this point where I realized it really was, who I am and what I'm bringing to the table. And yes, you get knowledge from so many different places, and living it, I believe, is the greatest of teachers for us. And the fact that you've learned what works for you and doesn't. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. So,
Exactly.
So there's the AnYes certification of life now, right? All right, AnYes.
Yeah,
it's
funny that you know. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I want to know how you got your name, but go ahead, because I've been dying to know. But go ahead, what were you going to say? And then you got to tell me, AnYes, got to know.
No, I was just going to say, it's funny you talk about certification, because I do have on my list at some point to teach to others how to use the stuff that I have developed. Yes, so that's on my list. And yes, I've always said that the only inflexibility that I have in my life is around the pronunciation of my first name. I told you that both my parents were Dutch, and when my mother was 12, a little girl of 12, on the island of Java in Indonesia, because it was Dutch colonies, she was having her first French lesson. And in Dutch, my first name is AnYes, which is ugly, or I find it ugly.
Everybody, did you see what she just did? That's what we all need to do all the time. Catch ourselves. She's like, oh, that's ugly. Oh, well, that's it's like how we view everything. Every little moment, everything we think changes everything. Just, how to say.
And so the moment she heard AnYes being pronounced into AnYes, she decided that if she would ever have a daughter, her daughter would be named AnYes. And I'm the firstborn, so I'm named AnYes. I love my first name in French. My family says Agnes, or said Agnes, because now they know. And English people say Agnes. And so, you know, I would arrive in a workshop or whatever, and I would present myself, and I would immediately say to be pronounced AnYes. And one day, an American coach, Susie Moakland, who, not Moakland, Susie Pomerantz, who wrote, gosh, I have the name, I don't forget, I see the book in front of me. She introduced me in writing to her network, and she put down to be pronounced AN hyphen or dash, I never know how you say it, yes, YES. And so I started using it in the Anglo-Saxon world, and I started getting this feedback. Oh, I love it, the yes in it, it's so much you. So I ended up taking out the hyphen or dash, and capitalizing the Y. And now it's the name I use, and I only have my siblings, in fact, who are who know how to pronounce AnYes in French, and I write it like that. So the funny thing is that now I've moved into another flexibility, because people tend not to capitalize the Y. And so I now say with a capital Y, because that's what's made the difference. That's what makes it so powerful.
You know, and just your name, just changing it. It's like, oh, I found that ugly, or I didn't like that name. Then you changed it to something that resonated with you, and then you capitalize it. You have this big yes. I mean, that's what we need to do with every aspect of our life. Even, you know, the mug that I'm drinking out of, it's like, does this bring me joy? You know, I mean, that might sound really crazy, but I really try to surround myself with as many things that bring me joy, because why should I have something that's you know, and your name, I mean, Junie Moon, I mean, that's my long story for another day, but it's like I took that on for a reason, energetically, and that's our name. So if you think taking on our name and our business name and all the things that we do in our life, it all has an impact in how we feel. Funny enough that someone had said, hi, Agnes, before, and my first thought was, who's Agnes?
and I know, because Mitchie knows me. Mitchie has coached me many years ago, and I was then going under the name AnYes in French, but that's English, because your keyboard doesn't have the accent. So here now in the UK, all the legal papers say Agnes.
Oh, okay. So we still have about 15 more minutes. I would love for you to share a little more about your programs, maybe what's going on with some of your offers right now. I don't know what you want to tell people about what, you know, some of the golden nuggets that you're offering right now. Tell us what your programs are in a nutshell. Let them know what you have to offer.
In essence, my entry level, I would say, is a 90-minute power session. So that can be obviously on any topic, given all the topics that I can cover. So it's you wanting to drill down on a specific topic. I then have a private VIP day, so that is a full day with me, either in person in London or 2 half days virtually. And that is a VIP day that I call Make Things Happen. And it is either make things happen in biz, or either make things happen in life. And then I have a 3 months mentoring program that is Success on Your Own Terms. And again, either in life or in business. And my 9 months mentoring program is a program that is called Reinvent Yourself Now. So that's the entire program. And obviously it's not for nothing that it's 9 months, because it's really about giving birth to a new you. It's really putting yourself back at the center of your life. It's taking charge. It's all we discussed. I do currently have a birthday special. The private VIP, the power session. I have to remember now that I'm thinking in pounds how much it is in dollars. In essence, it's 50% off. I would need to look into what it was. I think it's $247 if I remember well. And the private VIP day is at a even more amazing price, because it's normally $19.97 and now it is $7.50.
So how do they find out about this? Is there a link?
The offers are not on my website because obviously it has absolutely nothing to do with my normal prices. So just email me at AnYes@AnYesvanRhijn.com. So that is ANYES at AnYes ANYES VANRHIJN.com.
Okay, great. Good. I'm glad you spelled it out so people can have that. Great. So who would benefit most? I mean, it seems like an obvious question, but who are the ideal people for what you have to offer at what point in their life?
I would say, well, obviously business owners and entrepreneurs, but who are having a hard time making their life and their business work together. The tagline of my brand, Success on Your Own Terms, is rule your life and your business. Don't let your business rule you and your life. So they want to find that balance. As I said, they don't want to go for success at any cost. They want success on their own terms. And quite often that will be people at crossroads. It's at a later stage in life when the kids may have gone and all of a sudden the empty nester, or it can be someone who walks around with that nagging feeling that what they currently have isn't that. It quite often it can turn into I don't have a social life anymore, or I'm at the verge of a divorce, or I never see my kids. I mean, all those type of things where there is this insatisfaction. Something has to change.
Mm-hmm.
It really is about transformation.
Yes, exactly. And I think
meaning that they have to be ready to do the work.
It's true, because just because someone wants something to be different doesn't mean
Absolutely.
they're ready for the change. Because
Absolutely.
living into our dreams and desiring what we want is so important, but we have to be willing to peek under the covers and see why we don't have it yet. What are some of the pitfalls and pitfalls. Yeah, this is an interesting interview today with me. I think I need to go back to my English. Well, it's menopause. I need to sleep, guys. I need to sleep. What is sleep? I have no idea. Anyway, but yeah,
that's something I can help you with as well. I do have a sleep management course.
I'm getting desperate. I think I'm going to start doing some pretty crazy things. But anyway, but yeah, to really see, the journey that we've gotten, to this point, and what hasn't worked, because it's great information. And I think a lot of people will beat themselves up saying, oh, I'm, 50 years old and I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and, and this didn't work and I'm a failure. And it's like, no, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. You know what didn't work and you're still young and there's so much life ahead of you. Let's figure out what to do next. AnYes, you've been on such an amazing journey in these last couple of years. Were there ever times that were just really rough and where you thought, I can't do this? And if so, what did you do?
Of course. But the interesting thing that I have discovered meanwhile is that when things go wrong, it is most of the time what we call a ULP, an upper limit problem.
A what?
It's an upper limit problem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It is our subconscious wanting to protect us, wanting to stop us.
Sure.
And it translates it into, it's this relationship between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. It translates it into something either in the body or in the mind, and it literally stops you. And I have tons of examples like that. So originally, before being conscious of that, well, I would be like everyone. I would, just be depressed or whatever, go under. I would tend to hide, like, I go in my cave. I don't want to do anything anymore. Now I start thinking, hey, wait a moment. What is it that I'm afraid of? And I have had a massive ULP example when I had the confirmation of my first house sitting in the UK, where all of a sudden it became real and it scared me completely. And I translated that in a whole series of things, like, oh, but it's good living here, and money isn't important. Why don't I just take a job as a cashier at the supermarket? I'm a former director of administration for Europe, you know. Why don't I take a job as a cashier at the supermarket?
Yeah.
And, you know, going on like that.
Yep.
Stuff like that. It took me 4 days before I suddenly understood, wait a moment, ego, you're trying to stop me. No way. And the
Great.
moment I realized it, it was over.
Yeah, and 4 days, and somebody might say, "Oh, 4 days," but 4 days, not 4 years, not 40 years. You know, I'm glad you shared that, because a lot of times people think that, you know, because we do what we do, that we never have these bumps, we never have these days of I'm just not in the zone, and it's just not true. We're human beings. It's how we work it. It's the tools we have, and you have wicked tools to be able to not only look at how you're getting in your own way and why, but then being able to get out of it. And I think that, you know, what you said about the protection, I talk about that often. You know, everything we do really is in protection, or our highest good that we think, you know, is best for us. You know, if we really go for the gold, things might change, and there might be a part of you that thinks, ooh, you know, if I really go for that, it may not work. You know, people may not like me. I might lose my friends. You know, and so underneath, again, if we don't know the fears, we'll never move forward. And then that part of us is, oh, don't even go for it. Don't even try. We think we're like we have such low self-esteem. No, it's not that. It's that there's a part of us that's just really watching out so that we don't get hurt. But once we expose it, like you said, once you spot it, boom. Oh, what is this? I don't want to work in a checkout place. I've got things to do. I'm on mission, right?
I think that in essence, what it is that, I mean, you and I, we're human beings like everyone. The thing is, once you start understanding how it functions and that you have the tools to go with it, life stands in the way, it does. But you don't stick into it as long as you would have in the past. And that is what makes all the difference.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely, I say that often. It's just, you know, the lag time. It's just like, boom, I'm feeling it, I'm processing it, I'm out of it. And it doesn't mean that I'm not experiencing some hardships. I mean, these last 5 years have been, well, I'll say 4.5, 4.5, been the most traumatic years of my freaking life. I mean, people, if you had a fraction of some of the things that have happened to me, oh my God. But, you know, it's like, I can let it take me down, or I can learn and grow and move and work with it, and feel what I need to feel. I mean, there are days when it's just, you know, it can be a little sad, or it could be really hard. And then it's like, okay, I'm here for a reason. You're here for a reason. And the gifts you have, AnYes, my goodness, I'm always so amazed at what you have to offer. We only have a couple more minutes. Is there any parting words, anything else that you want to tell people, either about you or inspirational words for them to take action and
I would say what I always say, that I even have it printed on my business card. Don't let anyone tell you that your dream is impossible. Don't let anyone tell you that, and never, never quit. Never.
Thank you. Thank you. So, AnYes, this has been so great having you here. Can you just tell your website, or your email again, and your website, so people can find out where to find you?
The website will give you the end of my email. So the website is www.AnYesVanRhijn.com. And my email address is AnYes@AnYesvanRhijn.com. So ANYES, and then the same.
All right. Well, thank you so much, AnYes.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. I always enjoy talking with you.
I know. It goes so fast, and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things. Oh, hold on one second. Midgie says, thank you both, Junie Moon and AnYes, for an inspiring chat. Glad to inspire. Happy to have you here, all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. There's a whole bunch more coming up. I am booked solid until like the beginning of April with some unbelievable guests. Like, this is just so cool. So stay tuned. And one of them, I'm just going to plant a seed. One of them, I'm getting naked. What is that about? Well, sort of, kind of. I am. I'm getting body painted by an internationally known body painter. Yeah, pushing some boundaries here.
Wow.
Yes, this is for all of us that have some challenges with body image and shame around body. I'm bearing it all. But anyway, I love you all. Thank you for being here. AnYes, again, thank you for sharing this time with me. And be well, stay warm, and blessings.
Yeah, stay warm.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.